What if you wake up tomorrow morning, getting ready for work? You turn on the news, headlines. Terrorist attacks have been placed all over the North American continent. Major cities in the U.S. have been destroyed, or bombs have been set off, and catastrophe is all around us. You jump, you run back to your pantry, you look, you say, man, how much food have I got? 1, 2, maybe 3 weeks of food if you really stretched it. You jump in the car, you get on the road going to the store, but the roads are just clogged with traffic. You finally make it to the store to find that the store shelves are bare, completely wiped out by panic. What are you going to do to feed your family? What are you going to do to take care of their needs? Food equals freedom. As long as you have food, you can pretty much make your own choices. You know, we live in a free enterprise system. We live in a free market society. If I see a need and I can supply that need, I can make a profit. And if there is a need, I'm going to meet that because I'm motivated to do so. But what if the government takes over our food supply? What happens then? What are you going to have to give up to get that food? We've seen what happened to GM. They've agreed to take this money, this bailout money, and now they're being dictated who can do what, who they can keep as employees, what kind of plan they need to make, or they just don't get the money. Same thing with you. If you don't make certain concessions, you may not get food. You know, it takes between 1,500 and 2,000 calories a day per person, according to how their age and male or female. We have a family of 5. For us to supply food for our family, it's going to take, for 90 days, it's going to take 900,000 calories. And that's cutting it pretty close. So what do you do? Where do you start? You know, it can be overwhelming, but I'm going to tell you what we've done and we're still continuing to do. We looked and said, you know what, let's just take the food that we eat. Let's continue to eat like we're doing. We'll just buy extra food, shelf stable, of course, and we'll rotate it out when we need it. And we'll get ahead a little bit. I'm going to tell you, maybe on a limited budget, a very limited budget, but you can buy a bag of beans and a bag of rice. That makes a complete protein. And what I would suggest, for those especially on a limited budget, is to start buying bags of beans and rice. That's what the islands have been doing for years. They eat beans and rice all the time. And that'll get you started. And just do what you can as you go along. No reason to really panic. I know my initial statement was pretty jarring, but you know, to be honest with you, we don't know what's going to happen. And really, I'm sure not hoping it's going to happen anytime soon. But what you need to do is protect yourself by just starting out. A little peace of mind, getting that food ahead. Simple food. Food that'll last at least a year and a half. So I'm going to show you a couple of video clips of things that we're doing and just easing into it. And this video is only meant to get you awake and get you moving in the right direction. I'm not trying to be a fearmonger, not trying to make you panic. But you'll hear me on one of my videos. There are 300 families living in the national forest not 5 miles from our house that have been displaced, and they're living in tents. And I heard this directly from the sheriff of our county. There's another county next to us my dad lives in. The churches over there have taken in 150 families, and they're trying to help them however they can. And this is in western North Carolina. It's time to act. Time to act in a big way. We just got back from a huge rescue ministry warehouse that takes in a lot of food. And what they do is they rotate it out on a regular basis and they sell it to the public for 60 cents per pound. And actually a lot of these items are even 20 cents per pound. And then they take that money and they help other people. But as you can see, a lot of beans, rice, a little bit of medical supplies, canned goods. The dates are really good on this stuff. Now, not all of this, we will use this. We'll use it in different ways. Napkins and cereals and stuff, of course. Free Signs. Here, this is just where I've emptied the box, but there's a few things. Even, those are labels under there. But this stuff is, it goes to a good cause, and to be honest with you, I live right on the verge of Pisgah National Forest, which is in the western part of North Carolina. And the guy told me at this rescue center that there are 300 families living in tents in the forest from this area. I'm going to tell you, I was completely stunned, and I mean stunned. It's incredible, guys. It's incredible what we're doing. You can live 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water. One of the things that we do, we'll take empty bottles of different sorts, whether it's Pepsi soda bottles or water bottles, and we just fill them up. You can store those bottles, and they're very portable, easy to carry. You need 1 gallon of water minimum a day just for drinking. Recommended you should have 3 gallons of water a day for cleaning, sanitary, etc. Now you can get about 40 gallons average water out of your hot water heater, according to size, of course. And that's a good way to get started also. And then actually, which this isn't really recommended, but there is water in your toilet tank, and worst comes to worst, there's water in the toilet bowl. You know, we need to really consider what our water source is. And one of the things that, of course, you need to have is some chlorine. Some use peroxide. Do your own investigation to see how that works. But adding a little bit of that, yeah, it makes a little bit of a funny taste, but it does give you clean drinking water. That's one of the most important things you can have is water and, of course, food. Some of the water that we've been putting back. We've actually got quite a bit of water put back. We seal this, and we can purify this later. But what my wife does is anytime she has an empty container, she just cleans it out, fills it up with water, and then we're storing it. Makes it real easy to get a hold of.